Now let's talk matters books. In November this year, renowned journalist and former managing editor of the Daily Monitor, Daniel Kalinaki, released a book titled Kizza, Besigye and Uganda's Unfinished Revolution. The book largely dwells on the recollections of Dr. Besigye during the National Resistance Army Bush War of 1981 to 86. Now the book has been praised and criticized in equal measure. I'm now joined in the studio by the author, Daniel Kalinaki, to tell us why he wrote this book. Welcome, Daniel.
Thank you, Sheila.
Congratulations. It's no mean feat to write a book.
Thank you.
Now, if you could please tell us, why did you choose to write this book, Besigye?
Well, many people write books because they have something to say. I wrote this book because I wanted to find out a story. So, after the Hammergate incident in April 2011, when Besigye was, brutalized in the streets, I discovered that I did not know what motivated him and why he was doing the things that he was doing and had been doing for over 10 years. So the book was or is an attempt to understand the man, his motivations, and to then reflect on the politics of Uganda over the last 30 to 50 years.
That's very interesting. Now, I have this book with me, and it's Kizza, Besigye and Uganda's Unfinished Revolution. What prompted you to use this title? And tell us about the title. Why the Unfinished Revolution? And what is this Unfinished Revolution anyway?
I wasn't really keen on writing a simple biography, typically born here, raised here, and, either died here or does this now. I wanted to locate Besigye's story within the context of the politics of Uganda. And I call it an unfinished revolution because if you look at some of the key questions, for instance, the management of power, the peaceful transfer of power from one elected leader to another, that's a question we've never been able to answer in 50 years plus of independence. There are other questions of the role of the military, in politics, inclusiveness. Do all the people who live in Uganda believe that they are Ugandans and that the country belongs to them? And I discovered that many of the questions and many of the themes, as I discovered Besigye's story, are actually unanswered, and that it is perhaps useful for us to have a conversation, a bit about Besigye and his life and his politics, but also to have a conversation about the country. What kind of country do we have? What kind of country are we going to have in 50 years? This
is a book that details, the life and times of one of the most key opposition political figures of our time. How do you think this book is going to influence governance or politics in this country, especially a country where there's limited or no reading culture?
I don't believe the claim that there is limited or no reading culture. I've been impressed by the number of people who've actually gone out and bought the book. And I know there are many other people who want to find the book and will buy the book and will read the book. It was a bit deliberate to release the book around this time when people have a bit of time. And what I'm hoping is that the book contributes to the debate. I say in the book that this is not, the one and be all. It doesn't answer all the questions, even about the subject, Besigye. But I'm hoping that we can have a conversation about some of these things from an informed position. So if you read the book, you understand a bit more about Besigye and his motivations, whether you agree with them or not. Then you can have a conversation about him, about the president, about the political parties, and about the kind of politics, the elections, and everything that we have in the country.
Okay, maybe second to last or last question, because we're running out of time. While you were researching this book, did you find anything surprising about Besigye? Something that you unraveled about Besigye that you probably didn't know about him?
There are very many things, but I'll just pick out two very quickly. The first one that surprised me, despite being a journalist in this town for over 15 years, was that the contest between Besigye and Museveni did not start in 1999, where we thought it had started, but had gone back many years, pretty much 1989. That was something that I found very surprising, and the book details very intimate confrontations between the two men. The other thing that finally has happened is a discussion on the role of Winnie Byanyima, Besigye's wife, who was a politician here, and she speaks in the book about Besigye, about President Museveni, and about the politics in the country. And I think it is a useful discussion to put out there in the open. It's something that people have spoken about, but I think putting it in context and having an open, candid discussion about it is a useful thing.
Maybe the last 30 seconds. Besigye has always said he will not be going back to the courts of law. We saw the walk to work and so many opposition fights that he put out. What is the end result? What is this unfinished revolution?
When you read the book, and I hope you read the book, you will see how he goes from being a politician who's trying to contest for power through elections, the frustrations of going through that cycle, and eventually how he goes from even going to the courts to actually going to the streets. I'm
afraid, Daniel, thank you so much. We would love to talk about this book till the cows come back home, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And now, if you've just joined us, I've been speaking to Daniel Kalinaki, the author of Kizza and Uganda's Unfinished Revolution.